Imagine yourself wandering through the fog-shrouded valleys of Eldridge Hollow on a chilly autumn evening, where the ancient oaks twist like tormented souls, and the wind carries faint echoes of screams long silenced. This is the stage for a tale that will chill your bones and haunt your dreams. The eternal whispers of Blackthorn Manor, a crumbling Victorian nightmare where the dead refuse to stay buried, and one man's quest for truth awakens horrors beyond the grave. In the shadowed valleys of Eldridge Hollow, where the mist clings to ancient oaks like a shroud, and whispers of the long dead stir the air with chilling secrets, a tale of terror unfolds that will grip your heart and refuse to let go. Prepare yourself for the eternal whispers of Blackthorn Manor, a place where the boundary between the living and the damned blurs into oblivion. Dr. Elias Thorne was a man forged in the fires of skepticism, a 45-year-old historian from Boston University, whose life had been dedicated to unraveling the threads of myth and superstition. With 3 books under his belt debunking infamous hauntings, titles like Phantoms of the Psyche and Curses Unmasked, he viewed ghosts as nothing more than projections of grief, fear, or collective hysteria. Curses? Mere coincidences amplified by time and tale-telling. It was this unwavering rationality that drew him to Eldridge Hollow in the crisp fall of 2025, a forgotten corner of the Appalachian foothills where progress had long since bypassed the winding roads and dense forests. The leaves burned in fiery reds and golds, falling like silent omens as he drove his SUV deeper into the valley. The legend of Blackthorn Manor had come to him via an email from an old colleague, attaching scanned clippings from 1893 newspapers. The Eldridge Atrocity, they called it. Reginald Eldridge, a wealthy mill owner with a penchant for the occult, had returned from an expedition to Egypt in 1892, bearing an obsidian mirror purportedly unearthed from a pharaoh's tomb. The artifact, said to pierce the veil between life and death, drove him mad. In a frenzy, he slaughtered his wife Victoria and their 3 children, Edward, 12, Thomas, 10, and Amelia, 6, sealing their bodies within the manor's walls to bind their souls eternally against the void he claimed the mirror revealed. No bodies were ever found, only bloodstains and bricked-up alcoves. The house was abandoned, boarded up, and shunned by locals who swore it whispered to intruders, luring them into madness or vanishing them altogether. Elias saw opportunity. "This will be Chapter 7, he muttered, packing his gear. A digital audio recorder for capturing anomalies, an EMF meter to detect electromagnetic fluctuations, often blamed for ghostly sensations, a thermal imaging camera for cold spots, a high-powered flashlight, notebooks, a sleeping bag, rations, and a satellite phone for the signal-deprived hollow. His wife, Sarah, a no-nonsense accountant with a warm smile and worried eyes, protested over breakfast in their suburban kitchen. "Elias, it's too remote. No cell service, no help for miles. What if something happens?" She stirred her coffee, the spoon clinking like a distant warning. He kissed her forehead. "I'll check in daily via satellite. It's just an old house, Sarah. Mold, rats, and tall tales. I'll debunk it and be home in a week." She hugged him tightly, her embrace lingering as if sensing the shadows ahead. The drive from Boston was 8 hours of highways fading into rural twists, the GPS occasionally glitching as the hollow approached. Eldridge Hollow materialized like a ghost town. A crossroads with a weathered general store, a church steeple leaning as if burdened by sins, and the Hollow Inn, a creaky bed and breakfast that smelled of mothballs and stale pie. Elias checked in for the night, his room a cramped space with floral wallpaper peeling at the edges. The innkeeper, Mrs. Agnes Grady, a stooped woman in her 70s with eyes sharp as shattered glass, handed him a brass key. "You're the historian poking at Blackthorn?" she asked, her voice a rasp. He nodded. "Foolish boy. My grandfather helped seal that place after the killings. Shadows grab at you there, whispers burrow into your skull. And that mirror, it shows what no living soul should see, the nothing after death." Elias chuckled politely. I'm sure it's all folklore, ma'am. Structural echoes, perhaps infrasound from the wind. She leaned closer, her breath sour. Folklore has roots, and blackthorns run deep into hell. If you hear knocking, don't answer. That night, Elias dreamed of murmurs calling his name, but he woke, dismissing it as the inn's thin walls and Mrs. Grady's suggestive stories. Dawn broke misty and gray, the sun a pale disk struggling through clouds. Elias loaded his SUV and drove the final mile, the road narrowing to gravel choked with brambles that clawed at the tires. Blackthorn Manor crested the hill like a crouching beast, its 3-story Victorian Gothic frame a skeleton of faded grandeur. Pointed arches framed boarded windows, gargoyles grimaced from eaves slick with moss, and a turret stabbed the sky like a dagger. Vines twisted around stone walls like veins pulsing with dark life. October 15th, 2025. Elias recorded into his device. Arrival at site. Exterior decay consistent with abandonment. No signs of recent entry. He shouldered his backpack and approached the heavy oak door, its brass knocker shaped like a thorned rose. To his surprise, it swung open with minimal effort, exhaling a puff of musty air that carried hints of decay. Old wood, dust, and something faintly metallic, like rusted iron or dried blood. The foyer was vast, dust motes dancing in slivers of light piercing through cracks in the boards. The marble floor, veined with fissures, echoed his steps like hollow bones. A grand staircase swept upward, its mahogany banister intricately carved with the eldridge crest. Thorns entwining roses, symbolizing beauty pierced by pain. Elias activated his EMF meter. It hummed steadily at baseline. No fluctuations, he noted. To the left lay the parlor, where he began his systematic exploration. Pulling sheets from furniture stirred clouds of dust that made him cough. A velvet sofa sagged under invisible weight. Armchairs flanked a cold fireplace mantled with tarnished silver candlesticks. Portraits dominated the walls. Reginald, stern and mustachioed, his dark eyes seeming to drill into Elias's soul. Victoria, elegant in a high-collared gown of emerald silk, her expression a mask of quiet sorrow. The children posed stiffly, Edward clutching a tin soldier, Thomas with an open book on his lap, Amelia hugging a porcelain doll, her curls framing innocent cheeks. As Elias moved, their gazes appeared to track him, an optical illusion from the artist's skill, yet unnerving in the silence. Adjacent was the dining room, a long oak table set eternally for 6, china plates chipped at edges, silverware blackened by tarnish, a crystal chandelier dangling overhead like a spider's web of dull prisms. Elias imagined the family here. Reginald at the head, discoursing on his Egyptian adventures, Victoria serving roast with a forced smile, the children fidgeting. What conversations turned to whispers of madness? He snapped photos, the flash banishing shadows momentarily. The kitchen adjoined, a time capsule of Victorian utility. A massive cast-iron stove rusted shut, copper pots hanging from hooks, shelves lined with glass jars holding desiccated herbs, or worse. Elias didn't pry. A pantry door creaked open to reveal empty shelves and mouse droppings, but a faint rot scent lingered, as if something had decayed long ago and left its ghost. Ascending the staircase, each step groaned like a sigh from the house itself. The upper landing branched into a dim hallway, doors ajar like invitations. The master bedroom was first, a 4-poster bed with canopy shredded to lace, pillows flattened by time. A dresser bore a jewelry box. Elias opened it gingerly, revealing pearls strung like tares, gold rings etched with initials, and a silver locket containing a lock of blonde hair. Amelia's shade, perhaps. The room felt colder, though the thermal camera registered no drop. Psychosomatic, he muttered. The children's room tugged at something deeper in Elias, a pang he attributed to his own loss, a brother who died young from leukemia. Bunk beds for the boys, a small canopy for Amelia. Toys littered the floor. A wooden horse missing a leg. Tin soldiers scattered in mock battle. A porcelain doll with a cracked face staring blankly from the bed. Walls were pinned with yellowed drawings, stick figures of a family, but surrounded by black crayon scribbles like encroaching voids. Childhood fears manifesting, Ellis recorded, though his voice wavered. Guest rooms were barren, dust thick on bare mattresses. At the hall's end, a narrow door led to the turret stairs, spiraling up like a corkscrew into darkness. Elias climbed, emerging in an observatory. A brass telescope aimed at the heavens, desks cluttered with star charts and astronomical notes. Reginald had blended science with sorcery, charting constellations while delving into ancient rites. Descending, Elias saved the library for last, a sanctuary of knowledge-turned tomb. Shelves groaned under leather-bound volumes, a rolling ladder rusted on its track. Titles ranged from mundane history to esoteric tomes, alchemy and the soul, Egyptian mysteries unveiled, demonology through the ages. He pulled several, dust cascading like snow. Then, on a lower shelf, a journal bound in cracked leather, embossed R.E. Reginald Eldridge. Elias sat at the desk, the chair creaking under him, and flipped through. Early entries were prosaic. April 5th, 1892. Victoria's garden blooms early this year. The boys excel in arithmetic. Amelia's laughter fills the halls like music. But post-Egypt, the tone darkened. June 15th, the mirror arrived from Cairo. Obsidian black as the Nile's depths. The merchant warned of curses, but I see only potential. A window to eternity. June 20th, gazed last night. Saw my deceased father, his mouth moving in silent plea. Victoria dismisses it as fatigue, but the image lingers. July 1st, whispers emanate from it now, speaking of the void. Endless nothing beyond death. No heaven's light, no hell's fire. Only oblivion. The children sense it. Their drawings show shadows with eyes. July 5th. Victoria hears them in her sleep, begging for release. I must protect my family from this fate. Binding our souls to the house. It's the only way. July 10th. The plan is set. Blood will seal the rite. They won't understand, but it's mercy. The final entry, July 12th. Tonight. God forgive me. Elias closed the journal, a chill settling, despite the afternoon light slanting through a cracked window. Clear evidence of progressive delusion, possibly from parasitic infection or toxin exposure during travel. Yet the words burrowed, planting seeds of doubt. As sunlight waned, Elias set up camp in the parlor, unrolling his sleeping bag before the fireplace. Dinner was a protein bar and bottled water. He started the recorder for overnight monitoring. Day 1 concluding, no paranormal activity detected. Ambient temperature 65 degrees, EMF stable. Night fell swiftly, a blanket of ink, pierced by wind howling through crevices. Branches tapped windows like skeletal fingers, begging entry. Elias dozed fitfully, but awoke to scratching. Faint at first, from upstairs, like nails rasping wood. Rats, he grumbled, but it grew rhythmic, insistent. Sighing, he grabbed flashlight and thermal camera, climbing the groaning stairs. The sound drew him to the master bedroom. He pushed the door. Hinges screamed. Empty. The scratching ceased abruptly, as if whatever caused it had noticed him. Thermal scan. Nothing. House settling, he said aloud, voice echoing oddly. But as he turned, a whisper slithered, soft, indistinct, then forming. Stay with us. Heart skipping, Elias spun. Beam sweeping corners. Empty. Whined through cracks, he rationalized, descending quickly. Back in the parlor, he reviewed the recorder. Amid static, a child's giggle echoed, followed by a sob. Then, clear as day, Papa's coming. Unsettled, Elias paced. The whispers returned, multiplying, circling like invisible vultures. Join the family. Eternal. No void. Shadows on walls seemed to detach, elongating into humanoid forms. He lit his lantern, its glow pushing back the dark. But the flame flickered as if breathed upon by unseen lips. Dawn arrived like salvation, weak light filtering in. Elias brewed coffee on a portable stove, hands steadying as he reviewed notes. Infrasound or audio, pareidolia, likely cause. Proceed to basement for artifact search. The basement door in the kitchen stuck, swollen with humidity. He shouldered it open, descending stone steps into a chill void. The air was damp, earthen, laced with mildew. Flashlight revealed a maze. Stone walls weeping moisture, wooden crates stacked haphazardly, Shelves of rusted tools, hammers, saws, an axe with a darkened blade that made Elias shudder. Prying crates, he found relics, faded clothes, letters in Victoria's elegant hand, lamenting Reginald's obsession, Egyptian amulets shaped like scarabs. In the farthest corner, propped against damp stone, the obsidian mirror, man-sized, framed in gilded wood, etched with hieroglyphs, its surface gleamed impossibly clean, reflecting Elias's face with unnatural clarity. He approached, breath fogging the glass. His image stared back, but edges blurred, rippling like water. Then, distortion. His face aged rapidly, wrinkles deepening, eyes sinking to pits. Behind him, apparitions formed. Reginald raising the axe, Victoria's scream, silent but vivid, children cowering. Blood sprayed across the vision. Elias recoiled, heart thundering. Concave effect, optical illusion, but his hands trembled as he wrapped it in a sheet and hauled it upstairs to the parlor. Photos taken, he dialed Lena Voss via satellite. Lena, found the mirror. Matches legends, obsidian, Egyptian, sending images. Her voice crackled. Elias, that's no ordinary relic. Obsidian scrying mirrors were used in death rituals. Some believe they trap essences. If it's affecting you, leave now. Promise? He laughed it off. Affecting me? It's just glass. Talk soon. But as storm clouds massed outside, thunder rumbling like distant artillery, Elias sat before the mirror. The surface activated, rippling without touch. Visions poured forth, Reginald unpacking it, gazing, face contorting as shadows whispered of the void. His descent, knights pacing, arguing with Victoria, the children drawing horrors. Then, the atrocity. Reginald, eyes wild, seizing the axe. Victoria in the parlor, needlework in lap. He struck, her blood arcing. The boys hiding under beds. He dragged them, blows merciless. Amelia in the closet, scratching desperately as bricks sealed her in, her cries muffling to silence. Elias tore away, nauseous. The room plunged colder, breath visible. Shadows slithered from corners, coalescing into hands that brushed his skin with icy burns. Whispers boomed. You see the truth. Join us in eternity. Panic surged. He bolted upstairs, barricading in the master bedroom. Phone to Lena. It's real. Shadows moving. Visions. Static swallowed her response. Lightning illuminated a figure. Tall, limb elongated, eyes glowing voids. Elias, welcome home. He endured the night huddled, whispers pounding his skull like migraines. Morning. Exhausted, Elias tried the front door. Sealed shut. Windows resisted. Trapped. Desperation fueled him back to the library. In rites of binding, he found the counter-ritual. To free bound souls, offer blood upon their remains, chant the words of release. An Egyptian incantation followed, transliterated. Armed with the axe, he hacked basement walls. Plaster crumbled, revealing alcoves. Small skeletons huddled. The children. Larger bones in tattered silk. Victoria. Reginald's remains absent, perhaps self-immured elsewhere. Ghosts materialized. Amelia, translucent and doll-like, tugged his sleeve with freezing grasp. Help us, mister. It hurts. The boys encircled, laughter hollow. Victoria wept ethereally. He trapped us to save us, but this is torment. Reginald towered, spectral form roaring. The void claims all. You dare free them? Elias chanted, slashing his palm, blood dripping on bones. The house quaked, floors buckling. Mirror shards in the parlor glowed, exploding. Ghosts howled, dissolving into mist with grateful sighs. Free, at last. Reginald lunged last, possessing the axe, swinging wildly. Elias dodged, embedding it in stone, then smashed remaining shards. The binding shattered. Doors yielded. Elias staggered out as the manor groaned, collapsing in timber and dust. He drove away, bloodied, glancing back at ruins, swallowed by mist. In Boston, Sarah nursed him. Delirium from exposure, doctors said, but whispers followed. In mirrors, shadows stirred. Elias shattered every reflective surface at home, but one night in a hotel, the bathroom glass rippled. Reginald's face. You freed them. Now take their place. He vanished. Searchers found his notebook at Blackthorn's rubble. The void calls. I hear them eternally. In Eldridge Hollow, misty night spring knocks, a historian begging stories. Answer, and join the whispers.